Hi guys, so today's going to be a stretchy kind of spine manipulation, spine mobility should I say, class. I've had a bad back for about a week now. I wrenched it last week, so it's starting to loosen off, and I'm hoping just a bit of gentle Pilates, a few nice kind of stretches and twists and things should help me. I've got a TheraBand, so if you've got something like this, a stretchy band would be great. If you have something that isn't stretchy, like a yoga strap, that'll probably do the job for kind of what I've got planned. I just want a little bit of stretch to mine today. Okay, so I'm going to start standing up. I have to move way back into the corner to fit on screen. So we're just standing in our neutral position. I've got my TheraBand handy. Just throw that out of the way. And of course our neutral position is our good posture. I'm turning to the side because ideally the earlobe, the centre of the shoulder from the side angle, the hip bone, the side of the ankle should all be absolutely stacked one above the other. Another way of thinking about our neutral position is the rib cage. If we looked from above, the rib cage makes kind of an oval shape, doesn't it? So the rib cage here sits directly above the pelvis, which again, viewed from above, would be two ovals stacked one above the other. So hopefully we can just get into neutral, maybe stretch forwards and backwards a couple of times if you need to, but settle at the point where the pelvis is level in neutral position. In our ideal posture, we're lifting nice and tall, and we know that the abs want to be hollowed in very, very slightly on a scale of 1 to 10, about 3 out of 10. That should be their natural position anyway. Often a way of checking yourself is just, can I relax? If it all flops out, you probably were just keeping that low tension anyway. Same with pelvic floor, just try and keep the pelvic floor very slightly pulled in, just enough to be aware of it really. Feet are about hip width, roughly pointing straight ahead. Remember, there might be slight turnout, but look for symmetry. I mean, all we're going to do for now is just sway side to side, just playing around a little bit with balance. Try and find the point where you're equal from right to left. So I'm just going to make those sways a little bit smaller. I'm just kind of moving naturally right now. And levelling out where both feet are even. And I might just play the same thing forwards and backwards. You won't really feel it. Maybe if you put your hand on your abs you might, but this is kind of the automatic movements or tensions within your body. You should find that the reason you're not falling over is your deep abs are working right now. Without them you'd have just splatted onto your face at this point. And again, just settle, even right to left, even front to back, and lengthen tall. Okay, from here, all I'm going to do is just play around a little bit with imprint. So neutral, the lower back has its natural curve, the upper back curls out slightly. Imprint is really when the pelvis tilts a little bit and the rib cage closes down. We are shortening the distance between the hip bones and the rib cage, and then coming back up. So imprint, although when we're laying on our back, it sort of prints your spine on the ground. Imprint does just cover this movement where we very slightly tuck the tailbone, close the ribs, and release. We can implement our Pilates breathing. On the exhale, the abs hollow, the pelvic floor tightens slightly. And on the inhale, we can expand the ribs wide and back. So exhale, just shortening the abs basically at the front. Very slight tilt, and inhale, come up. Making it slightly bigger, bend the knees a little bit, and this time really tuck the pelvis and round the spine. Exhale. And on the inhale, we can lengthen to something like neutral. I'm just in this slight angle now. So pelvic floor's pulling in, tuck the tailbone, exhale. Little breath in, neutral position. And on the inhale, lift the chest, so just the upper back's opening. So we often do this on hands and knees. I've chosen to go for standing today. Exhale, pelvic floor's pulling in, abs are scooping round the spine. Keep the neck lengthened and relaxed. Inhale, pause, the knees are soft. Exhale to neutral, and inhale, open the chest. So it's not the lower back that's moving, it's just that lift here through the chest bone. We'll do 2 more. Exhale, tailbone tucks and scoop. Inhale to pause. Exhale, center. Inhale, open up the chest, and we'll do 1 more. And inhale, open the chest. Let's exhale and roll back up to neutral standing position. Playing around with shoulder position for a second. We know the shoulders go up. Breathing in, we can lift the shoulders, and breathing out, feel the shoulder blades sliding down. Visualize the shoulder blades gliding down and slightly in. 2 more. None of this is forced. Exhale, the shoulders glide down, but they're not being forced to the maximum they can go. Neither up nor down. And last one. And I'm going to grab my TheraBand here. If you've got a yoga strap, this one won't work. You'll need to do it empty-handed. With the TheraBand, I think it just feels quite nice. We'll try a little bit of protraction and retraction. The flatter you can get the band around the back, if you're using one like this, the better, otherwise it kind of screws up on itself. So maybe empty-handed, maybe with a band if you've got a stretchy one, arms at shoulder height. I'm going to exhale, protract. Inhale to neutral, which is that center point. Exhale, retract. Inhale, neutral. And we'll just make that a little bit quicker. So exhale forwards and inhale all the way back. Now if you're doing this empty-handed, it's still a nice one just for awareness of how the shoulder blades move apart around the sides of the ribs, how they pull in towards the midline. I'll show you from the front. I am not shrugging as I do these. My shoulders stay at the same height, but they're going forwards and backwards. With the band, you just get that nice little bit of resistance in the shoulders and upper back. And if you do enough of these, you do really start to feel it. Let's do 3 more. Conscious of our good posture, and 2 more, lengthening to the ceiling. And last one. Okay, releasing this down, taking the band, whether it's a stretchy one or not, it's going to go overhead. And you can't see my hands, but I'm just pulling apart here on this band. So a little bit of resistance, maybe you're just pulling a yoga band taut. And then all I'm going to do is tilt to one side and use this arm to pull the whole thing to the right. So the arm, you can see basically the lower arm. And then I'm going to tilt to the left. The left arm just pulls the whole thing a little bit further. So I've got a little bit of stretch to this band. You might have no stretch to yours. It should still feel pretty good. Just use this arm to pull the whole shebang over. So I'm breathing out, using the band to stretch myself and breathing into center. So these movements all week, because I've just strained my upper back, or mid back really, about a week ago. All these muscles are starting to ease for me, and I just need to try and get some movement in there, nice and easy. 1 more each side. And then I'm going to go into some circles. If you do need to bring your arms down, feel free. I'm turning to the side. I've got a bend in the knees again. Tailbone tucks, rounding the spine, and I'm taking the whole thing forwards. And then I'm coming up and arching back slightly. So you can see I'm allowing my spine to tilt. I think this feels wonderful. Go as far as feels good. Oh, and I'm going to try 2 more of these. I'm just breathing out to move, breathing into pause, pulling apart on this band at all times. There's some pressure. And last one. So especially while I've got just a minor injury, I'm definitely staying well within my comfort zone. And I'm going to do 3 circles. So let's just give the arms a little shake for a second. All right, 3 circles each way. So arms are up, off to the tilt, round the way forwards, bending the knees, tucking the tailbone, off to the other side, and open back. 2 more. So I'm looking for a stretch down the side of the ribs. As I curl forwards, it becomes a stretch between the shoulder blades, down the ribs, and here is a stretch for the shoulders and pecs. And last one. So I'm starting to loosen off. Now I'm changing directions. 3 each way. So maybe not strictly Pilates right now, but this is exactly what I feel my back just wants to do. And I'm hoping it feels good for you guys as well. Okay, last standing exercise then. Whew, so I'm going to take this down. Back to my good posture, lengthening tall, my neutral, everything's stacking. What you can even do is take a photo of yourself or a screenshot of yourself and draw a line. There should literally be a line from earlobe, shoulder, middle of hip, ankle bone, side of knee. It should all perfectly stack. Okay, so I'm just going to move forward. My head may slightly disappear. And all I'm doing is just shifting the weight from one foot to the other. And as I shift, I find I naturally twist. I'm exaggerating the natural movement that your torso kind of makes when we walk. We do slightly twist, the arms do slightly swing. And now I'm just going to take one foot off the ground and the other, just going at a natural pace. Whew. And that leg's going to start just swinging back. I'll turn to the side. So I'm kind of using my glutes, my butt muscle, just to swing the leg back. And I'm going to exaggerate the arms. Make it into a little bit bigger of a twist. At no point should it feel unnatural. It should just feel kind of nice and flowy and loose. I really enjoy this exercise. And I'm just breathing nice and natural for this one. Whatever just feels good. And we'll just go for 10 and 9. Excuse the sticky sound of my feet on the mat. It kind of just bounces side to side. Whew, and I think there's my last one. I'm just going to make it back to centre. Okay, so I've got the mat in front of me here. Soft knees, so I'm not locking these knees back. Again, don't worry about my head disappearing. It will reappear in a moment. Start by drawing your head backwards, like someone's pushing your face back. It gives you a double chin. Look down slightly, scoop those abs, and we'll just start rolling down towards the mat. We're going to hang for a few seconds. Oh, that's nice. So stop wherever feels okay. Maybe you're going to stop here at halfway. Maybe you feel good hanging all the way over. If you have disc problems in the lower back, slip disc type movement, I wouldn't go all the way over because there is a little bit of pressure here. I think this feels great, so I'm going to just sway for a moment. Maybe you want to grab opposite hand to opposite elbow. It just adds a little bit of weight to this stretch if you want it. And then we're going to roll back up to standing. So you can hold this a few more seconds if you like. Abs are scooped. Maybe you're not as far down as me. Maybe you're further, I don't know. Maybe you were holding the elbows, but I'm rolling back up. Be conscious of your good posture when you reach the top. Lengthen to the ceiling. Draw your head back, not down, so it starts stretching right at the very, very tip top of your neck. Scoop the abs, drawing the pelvic floor. They are supporting your spine. You're not just letting yourself curl, right up into a ball here. Roll down, the knees are soft. They are not locked back. Go as far as feels comfortable. And again, you just dangle. This one can be nice with your back to a wall if you wanted to lean on a wall for these as well. I like holding opposite elbows. This is more a yoga based thing to hold the elbows, but I find it just adds a little bit of weight using my arms to stretch my upper back. And I'm swaying because I think it feels good. And I'm going to roll up just one more time. So again, take your time. Stay a bit longer if you like. But I'm rolling it back up. Conscious that I am coming back to neutral. The pelvis straightens out. The ribs stack above the pelvis. The top of the head is really reaching for the ceiling. Draw your head back. And away we go. Breathing out to roll down. But as we go, you can start to breathe a little bit more intuitively, a bit more naturally. And we can hold at the bottom. Just conscious of the abs hollowing. The pelvic floor is switched on. Maybe a little sway, maybe not. Just go with what feels nice. Sometimes I think it's good to move intuitively. Sometimes you do genuinely know exactly what you need to do. And if something feels a little bit wrong, it probably is for you in that moment. For whatever reason that might be. We're going to bend the knees. Place your hands on the ground and come down to hands and knees. So I've got a little bit of space in front of me. Let's just start with a cat-cow stretch. So the hands are under the shoulders, knees under the hip joints. I'm in a neutral position. Abs are pulling in, of course. Pelvic floor's pulling in. And we'll just tuck the tailbones. There's going to be a lot of spine stretches because I feel like that's exactly what I need to do. Inhale, pause, and exhale, neutral. Inhale, open the chest, lengthen your neck. So the lower back's not moving, it's coming from my rib cage, really, is this one. Exhale, scoop. Inhale, pause. Exhale, neutral. And inhale, open the chest. We'll just do 2 more of these before we add a little bit into it. Exhale. So I'm recording this in the hope that it's going to make a nice session for you guys. I would have probably done this anyway, recording or no. This is exactly what I want to be doing right now for my back. So if it helps someone out there as well, just to get a nice little Pilates session, that's all good. I'm back in neutral position. So I'm just going to tilt side to side. So can you see I'm bringing my, almost like my left armpit to my left hip and side to side. So the neutral spine stays perfectly level. And we're just doing, it's called lateral flexion. So fancy words for side bend. And I'm going to add in some legs to this. I always have to think about this. All right, if I'm going to the right, sorry, to the left, my left knee comes forwards and my right hand comes forwards. Opposites and center. So think about it coming from the leg. If I go right, right knee comes forwards, left hand comes forwards. So it's just bunching things up a little bit more. And if you want to carry on doing this, that's fine. If you want to leave out the hands, that's also fine. Or we can make it into a little travelling move. Sometimes I think that's a little bit too much for my brain to handle. But if I make it into a travelling move, I'll go left knee forwards, right hand forwards, right knee forward, left hand forwards, and then I'm coming back. Woo! So you're just reversing what you did. Try and find those side bends. So I'm just doing 1 to the front and 2 to the front, 1 to the back, whoops, my wrist, and 2 to the back. I'm going to do that twice more. And again, for me, in this moment, my back really is appreciating this. It's catching a lot of the areas that I've strained. Last one. Whew. Okay, so you might want to give your wrists a little stretch after that, just give them a wriggle, and then we'll lay out onto our front. So, okay, so I'm going to do this without the band initially, and then I'm going to add an exercise. If you do have the stretchy band, it's going to be slightly better. With the yoga strap, it won't work. So I've got the abs hollowed in, I've got the knees in parallel position, which basically means my knees are both facing straight forwards, or straight down in this instance. You know what to do. Lengthen the top of the head forwards. Breathe in to slide your shoulder blades back, lengthen at the upper back and neck, lift and breathe out to lower. So this is upper back movement. Inhale, lengthen and lift. And exhale down. Conscious of those abs supporting and stopping the lower back from moving in this exercise. And let's do 2 more. Feel the ribs expand wide as you inhale. Feel the ribs squeeze closed as you exhale. Last one. And let's bring hands by sides. Version 2. So we've got this retraction with the shoulder blades, breathing in to retract and lift, breathing out to lower. Feel the neck lengthen, the top of the head's pulling forwards. Let's try just 2 more of these. And last one. All right. Oh. So just going into the myofascial version. I've got my arms again back where they started in the start position, hands roughly in line with the ears. And I'm going to lift up and then just try that kind of rock side to side. Oh, my elbow naturally comes off the ground. I'm literally using my hands to push this. So I make it quite natural, quite bouncy. And then if you want to, you can lift a hand, which will make the movement a little bit different, a little bit bigger. And we can add that little reach, reach, reach. See, I'm finding just a very small stretch in my side doing this one. Make it quite bouncy, quite natural. Remember, you can step this back down a gear or keep going with the bigger one. It's not really a competition of which is the hardest version, it's the one that just feels nicest. Oh. And I'm just going to go for 4 more each, and 3, and 2, and the last one. Okay, now I'm using the band. This will not work unless the band is stretchy. If you prefer to do an alternative, we're going to go back to the initial exercise, but this time with hands under the head. Breathing in to lift, breathing out to lower. So there's your alternatives. I've got this band flat against my upper back. I've got a fair amount of resistance here. I'm not holding right at the ends of the band. Okay, so as I inhale and lift, I'm going to spread the arms wide. And exhale, resist it coming back in. So don't let the band ping you back to the beginning. Breathing in, lift and wide, keeping the neck lengthened. I can feel mine's crunching back a little bit, so I need to just be a little bit more aware of my positioning. With a lot of exercises, if you resist the return, that's almost more effective than the lift itself. It's called eccentric contraction, and it's often a really good way of increasing strength. So the outward push is great, but resisting the return journey is even better. Let's just do 2 more. And the last one. Good stuff. From there, let's just drop back into child's pose for a moment. And just curl over, looking for a stretch into the upper back here. So it's an active stretch. You're not just hanging there in a little heap. You're actively rounding to the sky or the ceiling. And you know I'm going to add that side bend. So all you're going to do is walk the hands across. If my hands are to the right, push the ribs to the left. And then I'm going to bring it back to centre, actively round to the ceiling. And then go the other way. So I'm walking my hands left and pushing my ribs right. Oh, and that feels fantastic. That's just catching that sore bit on my back. Let's just do 1 more each way. So active round at the beginning, curl to the side. I'm going right with the hands, left with the ribs. Centre and lift to the ceiling. And then off to the left, pushing those ribs to the right. Woo. And back up. Let's just bring it to hands and knees one last time. If you have a TheraBand, again, this is going to be just a little add-on if you have one. With a non-stretchy band, this won't work. So I'm sorry, at the beginning I said you could use either. Actually, a lot of these are more for a stretchy band. But yeah, it's not going to make a vast amount of difference, but just with the protractions and retractions, I can add a small amount of resistance by feeling that kind of tension. So I need a reasonable amount of tension here. I'm on hands and knees, and now I can retract and protract, and I'm just very slightly working against the resistance of the band. If you want to go further, we can take this into a plank position. with or without the band. And it's only coming from those shoulder blades. And this is now becoming, for me, quite hard work. Definitely feeling warm now. Watch out for the spine sagging, keep the abs in, keep the tailbone very slightly tucked if you're in a plank position. Let's do 3 more. And 2. Protract. And 1, retract. Protract. Woo, knees down. Oh my goodness. Okay. So if you turn on your side, let's do our spine twists. Now, at the moment, I'm finding twisting movements quite hard. So we'll see how this goes. This either will make things better or make things worse. We'll know in a moment. So you're on your side. Legs at 90 degrees, shoulders stacked, neutral spine. Probably a gap under your waist. My waist is smaller than my hips. If I was to allow my spine to drop to the floor, I would have quite a big dip here. It wouldn't be symmetrical anymore. If you don't have a block, just pop your fist under your head. A block is just comfier, basically. She says, there we go. You can do this with a small weight in your hands. That might just give you an extra twist if you want it. Set that shoulder blade. Feel the shoulder blade gripping the back of the rib cage. Remember, your neck turns with your arm. Fix the shoulder joint. It's like you're a doll with an arm stuck on the side, it can't move. And twist from the rib cage and therefore from the upper back. Open the arm wider, inhale, pause. And exhale, back to the beginning. I'm just going to move slightly because that chest of drawers behind me is just in my way. All right, so we're doing 5. So we breathe in, the neck and arm move. Fix the shoulder, breathe out, twist from the ribs. Keep those abs hollowed slightly all the way through. Inhale to pause. The arm has now moved to its natural final spot. And exhale, twist from the waist back to the beginning. 3 more, sorry. Ribs expand, abs hollow as we go back. At this point, the arm does open to its full maximal point. Inhale, pause. And exhale back to the beginning. 2 more. So at this point it's coming from the ribs and then the arm opens because it's got slightly more movement. And last one. And you can slightly twist the hips forwards to increase the pull. Oh, and let's change sides. We're doing 5 each way. You can flip over and face the opposite wall. Or like me, you can do a full about face. Twisting to the other side. There we go. Oh, okay, legs 90 degrees, neutral spine. Check in on everything, because often I think the time when you're most likely to do it wrong is when you think you're fine, you don't need to worry anymore. So check you're doing it equally both sides. And away we go. Oh, now I was expecting this side to be the easier side, and it's really not for me. This is quite hard going. So the hips never rotate backwards. Once your pelvis starts rolling backwards, you are losing the twist in the spine, and the whole aim of this game for this exercise is to make that spine rotate. Try and twist your head back and follow your hand with your gaze. This is number 4 for me. I'm counting on my fingers as I go. When you have done your last one, you may finish before me, and that's fine if you do go at your own speed, but when you finish, turn onto your back. When you're ready, turn onto your back here. Whew. And just check in once again on your posture. So I'm going to grab my yoga block as well while I'm here. Okay, just for a moment, let's see what's going on. Neutral spine, of course. Pelvis should be level, hip bones and pubic bone lay at the same height as each other, regardless of all the flesh over the top. The bones underneath should line up. You should feel your weight fairly heavy against the tailbone. The lower back does very slightly curve off the floor. I think because my back's a bit sore this week, I am slightly overarching more than I should, so I'm just going to adjust and try and find that neutral position. Chest bone and rib cage should be sitting same height as pelvis. Whew. And you can feel your weight sitting into your upper back. Right, my hair's just a bit in the way. Okay, just twice, breathe in to shrug your shoulders, keeping them more or less flat against the ground, and breathe out, slide the shoulders away. Feel the shoulder blades gripping the back of the ribs. One more of those. Inhale, shrug, and exhale. Feel them squeeze into place. Let's just do some hip releases. So remember, the stationary leg shouldn't move. If it kind of drifts out sideways as a counterbalance, just be aware of that. The counterbalancing should be coming from the core. Abs are switched on, pelvic floor is switched on. Inhale, drop your knee to the side, slide the side of the foot forwards. And exhale, twist your knee to center. Try and switch on the inner thigh muscle and drag the heel back. And my mat's folding up, it doesn't matter. Inhale, knee wide. In fact, it almost might be a good thing. And exhale, twist the knee to the center, drag the heel back. 2 more. And last one. So imagine that the center of your body is pulling the leg back in. The effort is coming right from that midsection, because it kind of is. Let's stay on the same leg and change directions. Remember, the hip flexor starts in the thigh bone, goes through the pelvis, and connects into the discs and bones of the lumbar spine. So if you can really visualize almost pulling from the very core, the very center of your body to drag that leg back in, you are kind of on the money with how the muscle is working. And last one, no, 2 more, sorry. Twist to center, exhale. So real rotation, especially I think in shorts today, I can see in the reflection there, I'm really getting quite obvious twist through the thigh bone and thigh. Let's change legs, so 4 each way. Breathing in, knee drops to the side, slides forwards. Notice if one leg is easier or harder or just, different. I don't know if you heard, that was a full-on click from my hip then. 2 more. We'll find out later if that was a good thing or a bad thing, I do not know. Knee twists, and if I really twist my leg to center, I feel my inner thigh, my adductor muscles switching on. And last one. And then I'm changing directions. I'm on the same leg, twisting the knee to center, sliding it forwards and twisting the knee out to the side, dragging the side of the foot in. It's tricky because the mats do get a little bit stuck under your feet, especially with the yoga mats. The leg should be as dead weight heavy as possible, because as soon as you lift your foot, you've actually stopped relaxing the hip muscles and you've actually started to kind of tense them and lift them, but I know we've got to do our best here. All right, back in center. So we're in neutral. Imprint position, we just lengthen the tailbone forwards, feel the lower back lengthen, and I feel like it relaxes my lower back muscle when I focus on it that way. Ribs close, and then neutral. Try not to use your legs. I suspect I was using my leg muscles there. So lengthen the lower back, tuck the tailbone, all coming from the abs, close the ribs, and return. And it's not a big movement, it's not a big exercise. And sometimes it's the little tiny fine-tuning exercises that are more effective. Let's do a shoulder bridge, guys. So you're breathing in to prepare, breathing out, imprint, clench your bum at the last second and peel your way off the ground. Neutral spine at the top, butt is clenched, breathe in to pause, and breathing out to roll down. Neutral spine at the bottom. Exhale. Lengthen the lower back, press into the heels. Try and focus on your butt muscles lifting you. Inhale, pause. And lengthen to exhale your way down. So my neck, I keep peeping towards the camera, mainly to check my own form, but also it's sociable, hi. But yeah, my neck is relaxed. I can move my head around and it's fine.
If you feel like you're at all stiff and kind of stuck in the upper back and neck, then something's not working with this shoulder bridge. It should be quite a relaxed, nice movement. We start in neutral. We move through imprint. We roll up. And actually, at the top, we start in neutral, lengthen the lower back, send the tailbone forwards, imprint, and roll your way down. You can visualize the knees traveling forwards. They probably won't actually move, but the knee joint, picture it reaching towards the front of the room. One of my training courses I went on, it really resonated with me, is if you imagine the lengthening aspect of any exercise. So I imagine my lower back lengthening and my knees lengthening forwards. Maybe there's nothing to see visually, but I feel when I imagine the lengthening, more loose, more kind of free inside my joints. Last one, folks. I'll be honest, I could do this all day. Do another half hour and call it a good Pilates class. I won't though. Could get boring. All right, back to neutral position. Lift one leg, neutral, 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 tabletop position. Imprint the spine. Scoop those abs as we lift the other leg. And then just for 10 here, nice and controlled, keeping the shoulders relaxed, keeping the shoulder blades engaged at the back, keeping the core switched on. Just extend. Breathing out to extend the leg, keeping an imprinted spine, breathing in to bring it in. Oh, I tell you what, partly slight injury in my back, partly I've avoided all exercise for a week. This is hard. I'm feeling it. So I'm maintaining imprint as best I can. And you can probably hear, because I'm breathing quite loud today with the effort, you're breathing out to extend the leg out. I'm breathing in to bring the leg in. I know when I used to do live classes rather than online, as in classes in the room, people used to complain they'd get cramp in their feet. I point my toes. I think it's just automatic. I've spent so many years doing this. But I don't think there's any issue with having relaxed feet if you want to. It's not going to affect the exercise. Whew. Right, I felt that. Give your knees a little hug. We're going to do another 10 in neutral. Now, do be very careful with neutral. I might roll back to imprint if I feel like neutral is too difficult for me. But bear in mind, neutral is ideal position. It's the least pressure on the discs and bones of the spine. It's the holy grail of posture. We're trying to get it as near as possible. So it makes sense when you can to work in neutral. So now I've leveled out the pelvis, the rib cage is level. I find it harder, but that could just be my body shape. Exhale out, inhale in. If you feel any stress or pressure in the lower back to imprint for you. Exhale out and inhale in. Whew. We'll do 10. And this is definitely, for me right now, taxing my muscles. To keep the abs flat, to keep the pelvis level in neutral, all that good stuff that we know to do. And normally isn't too hard. Woo! This is like a serious workout right now. They do say that when you have an injury, it compromises your core stability, which is a catch-22. Because if your core stability is I can't even speak into this. If your core stability isn't good, then you're more likely to get an injury, and so the spiral goes. Oh my word, last 2. And last one. Yeah, my core muscles are definitely really not happy with this. Whoa. All right. Whew. Okay, so I'm back in imprint. I'm just going to do a little twist and hope for the best. Keeping the knees together, keeping the shoulders to the floor. Over we go. And I'm just going to stop here. Take a few deep breaths. You might want to press the leg tighter into the twist. to change sides. Whew. So my knees are staying together, nice and tight. Over we go. Oh, yeah, feeling that. So I'm trying to send my knees over to one side. I'm trying to press this shoulder back to the other side. I'm using my hand to push the legs further, which if that feels good, brilliant. If it doesn't, don't do it. Right now, that feels really nice. And then bring your head back to center. Oh. Place your feet down, make sure the spine is just rounded slightly to imprint. And then you can relax when your feet hit the bottom. Whew, okay, single leg circles. So I'm going to keep it to the classic version today. I've got my arms out in a T shape. This helps me to get more mobility. It's more for me about the hip joint with the arms braced outwards. If you have the arms off the floor in whatever way you want to do that, it's going to rely more on the core muscles to stop the hips from rocking side to side. So you can choose how you want to approach this. Do you want it more about core stability, more about just getting movement? I'm going for movement today. So one leg ought to be straight along the ground. Slight bend to the knee is fine if you feel you need that. Listen out to your lower back, and if there's any pressure, bend that knee slightly. Other leg up to the ceiling. Again, pointy feet is just my habit, and it is the classical Pilates way, but there is nothing wrong with relaxing or even flexing the foot. The whole goal here is a neutral pelvis. Keep the ribs to hips equal. I just caught myself hitching sideways, so I had to readjust. And we'll just go for 5 circles each way. Breathe out to circle. Breathe into the top. I'm doing my level best right now to keep the pelvis stable. I'm trying not to lean too hard into my arms. I am trying to use these core muscles, but I am definitely braced to make this a little bit of a bigger movement, a little bit easier. And last one, I'll change directions. Exhale, circle. Inhale to the top. Then we'll change directions, breathing out to circle. Breathing into the top. You might find your pelvis does roll side to side a little bit, and that's okay. If you find that your hips are clunky, maybe make the circle, just adjust it until you can find a spot where it's not as clunky. And it's not damaging if your hips are clunky, it's just really unpleasant. That's 5 each way. I'm going to change sides. Pelvis stays stationary, spine stays neutral. There it is. Breathing out to circle. And breathing at the top. Now I just need to move so I don't kick the wall. There we go. Sorry, that's a really unflattering angle on the camera, but never mind. There's 5. And then I'm going to change directions. Exhale, circle. Inhale to the top. Notice if one side is better or worse. Remember, the goal here is trying to keep the pelvis stable, that core stability. Woo! And then let's sit up. So to do that, I'm going to grab the leg that was circling, flick it up, and there we go. Oh, my hair's all over. Frizzy, frizzy. So I'm going to go into roll-ups. I'm treating it as a mobility exercise, and I'm going to use the TheraBand to make the exercise a lot easier. Once again, it does need to be stretchy, I think, if you're going to use a band for this. If you want to just make it into an ab exercise, you don't need the band anyway. I don't know what that is. All right. The more resistance you have, the harder the band is to pull, the easier the exercise is for your abs. So I'm going to do the warm-up version first. So I'll just get this set up over my feet and then pop it down. Warm-up exercise, we know, starts in a flexed spine position. So the tailbone is tucking, the abs are scooping. That is as flexed as my spine ever gets. Really trying to round. I feel like I'm round, I just don't look it. Here we go. Abs in, pelvic floor in. Keep the spine tucked and curled. It doesn't change shape. Lift your chin, look straight ahead and curl forwards. So we should remain in the same position. The only body part really making any movement is the hip joints opening and closing. And maybe the neck slightly as we look forwards and ahead. There. Exhale back and inhale forwards. And last one. Ooh, okay. So this is where we're going to the full exercise. I'm going to use the band today because I want it to be more about the spine stretch. You can do the exercise straight-legged. I'm keeping it bent-legged, partly because it's easier with the band, I think, to do this. But we know what to do. We breathe in to set off back. Still in that flexed spine position, lift the chin. Breathe out as you start to feel the lower back peeling to the mat. There it is. And we're actually in neutral right now. Inhale, pause. Nod the chin. And exhale. Smoothly roll up and over. So the arm positioning. Inhale, set off back. If you're doing it empty-handed, I don't know if I can even do this today. Exhale, peel it down to the mat. The shoulder blades are engaged, the upper abs are engaged. Inhale as the arms go up. So they've gone slightly overhead. And exhale as you peel up and over. Oh, I'm quite pleased I did that. But I'm keeping it with the band. This is a really good way, I think, if you do have a stretchy band as well. If you're struggling to get this move super, super smooth, the band just takes a tiny bit of the effort out, helps you smooth the movement, and then over time I think you won't need it. It'll sort itself out. So inhale, arms go to the ceiling, and exhale, whew, peel back up. Oh, that is nice. I'm going to do 3 more here. Breathing in to set off back, lift the chin, look straight ahead. Breathing out, every little inch of that spine is peeling to the floor one by one. The arms go back if you're doing it with arms. Inhale, the arms go vertical. Obviously with a band, I can't do that. Oh, I nearly got stuck. Exhale, up and over. Woo, 2 more. Oh. I'm laughing because I can feel this is getting harder and harder for me. Last one. Having said that, it feels great. Oh, again, all these moves, I'm picking things that are just what I feel like I need to do right now. Oh, there it is. Woo! Mm. And roll up is usually followed by a spine twist. Okay, I'm going to use the stretchy band here. I'm folding my legs in because that's comfortable. You can sit however works for you. I think a 3/4 angle to the camera will probably help you see. So you can do this just with the thumbs to the chest or maybe with the arms out. I'm going to use the band. If you know the inhale, lift, exhale, arms drop variation as well. So I think there's a few versions you can pick from if you're not using a stretchy band here. But I've got this, so I'm going to use it. Very similar to what we did with the upper back warm-ups earlier. So you need a little bit of resistance. Alright, so I'm sitting in neutral. But sit on a block if you feel that's comfier. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, arms expand wide as we twist. Try not to let it ping on your elbows. Exhale, inhale, resist it back to center. So the shoulders aren't shrugging. Exhale, open apart. Inhale, center. You turn to face you guys so I don't hit the walls. So I'm in neutral, breathing out. Twist. Remember, it's often a resistance. With bands especially, I think it's more about the return than it is about the push. So that's pretty easy to do. You just push the band out, but then can I resist it back? Not letting it kind of pull me inwards. Let's do 4 more.
Inhale to the rib cage. In a seated position, you can really notice pelvic floor lifting. Exhale, twist. Inhale to the ribs, 2 more. And last one. Whew. All right, so I'm going to chuck that out of the way. Let's lay on our fronts. So I'm going to go into breaststroke first of all, which means I need a little bit of space to be able to wave my arms. So hopefully this should do the job. So yeah, you should have clearance around you. You can do this with little hand weights if you want to. It makes it quite an effective exercise. I'm going empty hands with this one. So without further ado, legs are parallel. The knees are facing straight down to the ground, hip width apart. Push the knees straight. So you can see there's my legs relaxed. There's my thighs tensing to push the legs straight. And same with a little bit of glutes, bit of abs. Just make sure from the waist down you're more or less locked into place. Everything's accounted for with the muscles. Hands in line with the ears, float your face off the ground, float your hands off the ground. We're doing 10, here it comes. Exhale, dive, the arms go forwards. Inhale, circle, retract and lift. Exhale, down we go. Inhale, retract. So squeeze the shoulder blades together and lift. 3. And 4, this is definitely getting my back more than usual. And 5. And 6. Whoo-wee. So conscious of those abs just pulling in slightly, a little bit of pelvic floor, stopping the lower back from moving. Feeling my upper back getting nice and warm with this one. There's 10. The muscles are just starting to glow a little bit in my upper back, it feels like. Whoa, and down we go. I'm just going to briefly give my back a little stretch backwards, and then we are going to go into the heel squeeze. So remember, actively just round slightly. All right, heel squeeze. Just conscious of time. We'll do 5 of these because I'm aware we're going to stop in a few minutes. Okay, so the knees are slightly wider than body. Legs are lifted, feet are in a turnout, and ankles are together. Now, we're trying to use the glutes. Try and keep your abs scooped in, the tailbones just tucked very slightly. Your legs may not even fully come off the ground, and that is fine. But we squeeze those heels together, squeezy, squeezy, and just elevate them slightly. They lift just a little bit. And inhale to lower. So you should be feeling this in your glutes. If it's just killing you into hamstring cramp, and that's a clue that your butt muscles aren't working correctly. So exhale, squeeze, and maybe don't fully lift. You can see the weight of my thigh is still mostly on the ground with these. And there's 5, but I can certainly feel my bum muscles clenching a little bit to make this work. Whew, all right. Swan dive. So my legs are already in a turnout slightly. Feet are pointed, but again, that's just, I think it's a residual from when Pilates was for ballet dancers and things. They did a lot of point. We don't need to, unless you're going to bust out Swan Lake later on. So legs are straight, knees are in a turnout. Remember, legs are slightly wider than the mat. They're in a V. Full swan dive. Let's do it. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, enjoy the ride, rolling up. Inhale, press the chest forwards, the shoulders are down, the neck is lengthening still. And exhale to roll down. So this isn't a push to the maximum back bend you can do. You may be going further than me, or maybe not as far. I think the camera angle's making this look a lot more bendy than I actually am today. But what you do want to be looking for is the feeling of equal bend in the upper back, middle back, and lower back. It's all getting an equal go. I'm going to do 3 more here. Just aware of the time, we've got about 4 minutes left. Oh, that's nice. And last one. In fact, I may have counted 2, not 3. So just for good luck, just in case, I'm going to do 1 more anyway. Whether that's right counting or not, I don't care. But really feel like you're getting length. None of the bones are crunching together, if that makes sense. They're kind of pulling apart as we lift. From there, drop back to child's pose. We'll do a couple of side bends in a moment. So when you're ready, just come to a sitting position. I'm just going to do the seated version here. Whew. Yeah, we've got a few minutes, we're good. So sit however you feel comfortable. Sit in neutral, of course. And we're breathing in, arm comes up. Breathing out, side bend. Remember, press down with the waist. Add the twist if you want to. Oh, goodness me. Inhale, center. And exhale, hand down. So up. Oh, yeah, that's very, very stiff at the moment. So I'm going to leave out the twist. That doesn't feel good for me right now. You can carry on with the twist if you like. Let's just do 2 more for each side. So I'm going straight into a side bend. You can add that twist if you want to. Oh. Try and be aware of the shoulder blade, still kind of pulling down and anchoring at the back. So I'm not allowing this shoulder to shrug all the way up. That would be me really pulling upwards, but with the shoulder blade, it's just pulling it down again. Oh, wow. Yeah, this one, oh, I don't think is a good one right now for me. Last one. All right, so quick neck stretch each side. So if I drop my head to the right on your screen, drive the left shoulder down. If you have the arm straight and flex the wrist backwards, apparently that just stretches the nerves a little bit more that literally run from the brain down through the neck, down to the fingertips. Look down slightly to move the stretch around the corner towards the back of the neck. And back to center. Oh, that's nice. And then let's change sides. So if my head's going left on your screen, right shoulder comes down. So this flexes if you want to stretch the nerve a little bit as well. Oh, wow, that's stiff today. And you can just nod your chin down. So I'm still pressing down through the shoulder, and the stretch moves more around to the side of the back of the neck. And then back to center. Ooh, if we roll our way back up to standing, so I'm just going to twist. Tuck into a little side bend. Sorry, tuck into, I don't know where I'm side bend came from. Tuck into a little crouch and roll up. Keep the knees soft. If this isn't good on your spine, if you don't like this way of standing up, stand up in a way that works for you. Oh, and I'll just go back to my spot where I fit on screen, and of course we're right back where we started in our neutral posture. So lengthen your way up, everything should be stacked. Tailbone or hip bones and pubic bone, whichever side you check, should be more or less pointing vertical down. Ladies, apparently we're allowed a little bit of tilt, just the way we're built. But in general, I would aim for straight. Rib cage should be straight above the pelvis. Everything should be even, the shoulders the same height, the distance from ribs to hips. So possibly we're not naturally even, but we're aiming to be as close as even as we can. Inhale to shrug. feel like you're getting taller. Exhale as the shoulders slide down. And as always, lift onto your tippy toes, because I just love doing these. Lengthen up. So it's not just about lifting onto your toes, but really visualize the whole of your skeleton, the whole of your spine, lengthening and pulling upwards. Pretend you're going to stay this tall and ease your heels down. So it's like the spine's pulling up as the heels are coming down. You're lengthening. So feeling more than an actual happening. Anyway, we are done. So I hope that was all right for you. It certainly, I think, helped me. If it helps you, all the better. Good stuff. So thank you for joining in.